All right, so at this point, you should basically be ready to start working on your final draft of your paper. At this point, you should have completed your research. You should have read your sources. And while reading your sources, you should have a nice collection of research, what I call research notes. I showed you how to do that in the previous weeks. And then finally, the last thing you should have is an annotated bibliography. This annotated bibliography and all of your references from this will, you'll take out the annotations or the summaries, and this will turn into your references page, which will be the last page of your paper. And so pretty much writing at this point is the final step that you have to complete. And so this is writing your rough draft. And so this week is all about drafting and what you need to do to write your rough draft. So I'm going to give you a few strategies and a few updates here as to sort of how you can go about this. So at this point, you should have a nice piece of paper, probably multiple pieces of paper with the title of a work, and then all of your notes associated with that work. And you probably, I hope you went through and you created different paragraphs on all these pages. And so you should have some idea of what your paragraph structure looks like. Now, what you need to do is you need to go through your multiple pages of notes, and you've got all these different sections. These are your hypothetical notes. And you've got this paragraph is going to go in A, and this one's going to go in B, and B over here, and C, and this quote goes with C. And so these should start shaping up into your body paragraphs. And so now what's nice with this format of paper writing is you can go through and you can start looking and say, you know what, okay, today I'm going to write paragraph, let's change this color for a minute. I'm going to write paragraph A, and I'm also going to write paragraph B. And then tomorrow I'll do C, and I'll do, we don't have it over here, but let's say we're going to do D, or we're going to do E. And each day you can just take a couple of body paragraphs and start working on those. Now, different folks have a different kind of style that they work through when they write their paper. Basically, at this point, it's really up to you what your writing process looks like, but you really need to have a writing process. How can I take papers, break them down, and make the entire project easy and quick, at least as quick as possible? What can I do to do that? And so that's what you want to be reflecting on as you go through this process, and you're looking at your writing process. So what I would always do is at this point, I'll go through and create a working thesis. So this may not be the thesis I end up with at the end of the paper, but a working thesis. It can be crude. It's going to hit kind of your main topics and obviously your main points. But like I said, it may not be polished. It may not be exactly what you'd actually want to write. A working thesis is a good thing to have. The next thing you do is you start actually writing your body paragraphs. So your body paragraphs, then after you've written your body paragraphs, you want to go through and reorder your body paragraphs. What order they need to be in. Oh, not body paragraphs, but body paragraphs. What order they need to be in, and how do they need to be structured. And so that's going to take a little time. You may want to be thinking about this as you're writing them, what order they should be in. And then after that, you need to go back through and you need to rewrite your introduction and polish it. And so this is going to be obviously focusing on writing a good high quality thesis statement. And then the last thing I'd always do after rewriting my introduction is I would go through and wrap up my conclusion. So these are the last steps that you need to take this week. I encourage you a couple body paragraphs a day, and you're going to whip this paper out in no time. Let's go ahead and talk about the paper requirements here for just a couple of minutes. If we go back to last week's assignment here, let me zoom in on this a little bit. I'm going to resize just a smidgen to be able to do that. Let's see here. Well, there we go. And I can zoom in here. All right. So Requirements. This is a good thing for you guys just to spend a couple minutes thinking about. Basically, your paper needs to be 2,000 words, needs to follow the APA format. You need 8 quality sources, and you need in-text citations. You also want to follow New Times Roman font, or Times New Roman font. So those are your basic requirements. Now, getting back here again to actually writing your paper, what do you need to do? What's this going to look like? And what's going to be the best way for you to proceed? And so let's talk about that for a few minutes here. Let's go back to our black background. All right, in your body paragraphs, remember, this is all reviewed from earlier in the semester, but I'm going to model a body paragraph here using the squiggly line method. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write a topic sentence. And so this is going to be here, this is going to be your topic sentence. Make sure that you write high quality topic sentences. I'm going to be looking at that when I read your paper. Then you need to give us some background information, kind of key terms, topics, idea, analysis, lead up. After you give us a little bit of this, this is where you will then say according, and this is where your supporting argument will come into. According to Jones, that would be the author's last name, comma, you put your quote in there, you properly APA cite it, depending on if it's a paraphrase, if it's a direct quote. The structure of your paragraph will dictate a lot of this, but as we know at the end, we'd at least put, as we looked in that example, we'd put the page number. After Jones, I left this out here, I'll correct this. After Jones, immediately after, you'd put the date of the publication. And so as we saw in the example, let's say this is, we'll go with 2001, comma, and then you can begin your quote immediately after that. You'd obviously have a space there. Then you start your quote, and then here you end your quote, put the date, and then your final period. Now, you can't just end there. This is your research source, so then you analyze it, you explain why your research actually supports whatever topic you're trying to address. And so this is all going to be analysis. This is going to be lead up or background to your quote. And then this is your actual quote or paraphrase. Remember, paraphrase is where you put the intellectual content into your own words. A quote is where you directly quote it. But either way, the most important thing that you can do is all of this, everything here, all leads directly back to your topic sentence and the main idea. In your topic sentence, if you were to draw an arrow up from this, would go back to your thesis. I know it's hard to read. Thesis statement in the very beginning of the paper. So again, you want to be thinking about that structure as you're writing. All right, next thing to worry about is kind of overall manuscript. So that's your body paragraph, overall manuscript creation and formation. So remember, you need a title page. Up at the top of the title page, you put your running head. Now, I've got a little story I want to explain to you, and the running head is no longer than, I believe it's 40 or 50 characters. We'll have to look that up here. It's no more than 40. It talks about it in the model APA paper. No more than 40 characters. So what your running head is, it's basically the title of your paper, the location, and the main information goes in the center there. And then over on the side, you put the page number. Now, this running head, for those of you who are using Google Docs, typically on the first page, you write running head, and then this would be the title of your paper or an abbreviated title that's under 40 characters. And then over on the side, you'd put page number 1, you'd insert page, and this would be the top of your paper. Now, for those of you, this is a blow up of this. For those of you who are using Google Docs though, there's a slight problem here. And this, of course, all goes up in the header. In Google Docs, at the top, you're not allowed, as Google Docs is currently structured, this running head should technically only appear on the first page of the paper. Problem is that Google Docs doesn't let you put this into the first page and then eliminate it from the second and third and consecutive pages. So what I would suggest, taking a look at this model, I don't really care if you use the term running head or not. You need to know that that exists. But basically, if you have over on the left-hand side, every page of your paper, this would be the title of your paper. And then the page number over here, this is all inserted up into the header of your paper. If you need to find the header, how to get to there, you go to View, and then up in the toolbar up here, you go to View, and then you go to Header. And then this will pop up. You can type over here. You'll left adjust that. And then over here, this you go to Insert. And this would be, you would insert page number. So make sure that you have that part squared away. Now, I'll give you an idea here why it's important. Imagine your instructor has a stack of, let's say, 50 papers. Those 50 papers, they're actually printed out, unlike, not digital copies, but they're printed out. And the instructor happens to drop the entire stack of papers, and some of the papers become unstapled as a result of the fall. In that case, you want to make sure that your instructor knows that you still have your paper, and that your paper, all the pages, easily aligned. So they're not reading along and all of a sudden, for some reason, they don't know it, but they miss pages 4 and 5, and your paper makes absolutely no sense to them. You want them to be able to look at the top and say, oh, we're missing page 4 and 5. And this all belongs in the paper under the title that's here. So I'm going to put those back together and give this student a great grade. All right, next thing. So kind of looking at overall paper. So you have this would be your first page. This is your title page. And then your second page is going to be your abstract. Now the abstract should not be more than 150 to 250 words total. And so it's not characters in this case, but it's actually words. So make sure that you write a summary, an abstract. No, oh yeah, 250 words. Then this abstract is a summary of your entire paper. So I would say that this abstract is probably one of the last things you should do after you've got your entire paper written. Come back and do your abstract. And so looking here again, drawing our pages, first page, title page, second page, abstract, and then we begin the actual paper. This paper being 2,000 words, every word of text is roughly, give or take, 350 to 400 words, somewhere in that range. So if you look at this, this is going to come out to be roughly a 5 to 6 page paper total. So it's not, as far as college papers go, this is pretty moderate in length. All right, so after you got your pages, you get all your body paragraphs. So let's say this is your last page of your paper, and you're writing away, and your paper ends here. Your references don't start right here. You actually go and you begin a new page, and on that new page, you put references at the top, and then under the references, with your hanging indents, but without the summaries, and alphabetized, they will be alphabetized, will be each of your research sources neatly ordered alphabetically without no summaries. So you take those summaries that are in your anti-bibliography and you take them out of there. At this point, those summaries are useful earlier in the research process, but at this point, somebody reading your paper just wants to be able to take a look at your references. So going back through and counting the pages, we've got the title page. After that, we're going to have the abstract page. And then after the abstract page, we're going to have your pages of your paper. This is going to be roughly 5 to 6 pages. This is all writing. Remember to have all your quotes in here, nice organized body paragraphs, good topic sentences, thesis statements, everything that we've been working on, APA citations that are relevant, good research. Then your last page here, or potentially your last page, that'll be your references. Now, for those of you who have tables or figures or charts or maps, that'll go after the references. So this would be tables, figures, charts, like I said, maps, anything of that sort, any additional information that you want to include, all goes on this very last page. But this still has a number and it still has the paper title, just like all these other pages up at the top. So that's basically what your paper should look like. I know there's a lot of formatting things that you may need to learn. Spend some time with that APA guide and let me know how it goes.